Stephen Ross is winning every single year. Stephen Ross is successful as an owner of an NFL team because even if you try to not be successful, you will still be successful. It's Brewster's Millions. I know I've said that before too. You have to try to drive the franchise into the ground, and even if you do, you're still going to make money because you're part of this broader structure that just has to show up and millions tune in, and off we go. Here comes the money thanks to the fact that the TV contracts together. You don't have to worry about the one team that no one would pay to put on TV because you got to pay to put all of them on TV. And you got to pay big money for the privilege of putting all of them on TV. So the money keeps going up. Attendance is strong. It was down a little bit this year thanks largely to the Titans, who had a big drop in attendance, obviously. And they have a new coach or will have a new coach, and they'll keep trying to turn it around. Hey, and they got a new stadium. So, you may not like what's on the field, but hey, how about this? How about that? This is new. This is new. Bright, shiny objects. And I'm not trying to be unfairly critical. I'm just trying to explain this is the reality. It is a business. And fans don't want to hear it because they think this thing that they spend money to follow, that they invest their time in pursuing, that they have a true passion for to see that team win. They don't want to think that the people responsible for that thing are looking at it as, how much money did we make this year? Damn, that's a good year. What was our record? 4-13, but how much money did we make? Damn, that's a good year. They don't want to realize that at the end of the day, wins and losses don't matter. As long as you're doing enough to get the people to keep showing up. But as you said, people aren't going to deprive themselves of the thing that they feel so connected to. They get the logos tattooed on their bodies. It feels like a family relationship. No matter how dysfunctional it is, it's almost impossible to walk away from it. That's what the NFL has going for it, and that's why the franchise values keep going up and up. And that's why bad teams stay bad, because you can. There's no real consequence to being a bad team because you're still going to make huge profit.
Yeah, and that's true. And you called it the grift. I agree. It is for a lot of owners. But I would say I would try to appeal to some of these bad owners. I would say the grift gets even better if you can win a little bit more and be in more primetime games and have more celebrities around you. You got to talk to them in language that really that's important to them. You got to find what's important to them and kind of talk it up. So you got more primetime games. You have more celebrities around you. You have more people praising you as if you don't have them already. But you get even more. You got more friends and more people who want to do things for you when your team is relevant. So Jerry Jones has figured this out, right? They haven't been in a Super Bowl in 30 years and been in a conference championship in 30 years, but he's got a radio show. He talks after every game. People are always talking about the Cowboys, even though the Cowboys are out of the playoffs once again this year. So that's, I guess we can both, if I'm a fan of the Dolphins, I said we can both get what we want. I want to win because I grew up in South Florida and all I care about is the Dolphins. And I remember that playoff game from 2000, and damn it, it's been too long. So I want to win. And then you want to win because you want all the trappings that comes that comes with winning. So we could both get what we want if you could just put a little bit more thought into the franchise, find the right people, and leave them a hell alone. We can both be happy here with the Miami Dolphins, but obviously that hasn't happened in a long time. They have no idea, Mike. They have no idea what they want to do. Sometimes they they keep bringing in coaches who haven't coached before, who don't have head coaching experience. So that's their latest. Sometimes it's a defensive guy like Brian Flores. Sometimes it's an offensive guy like Mike McDaniel and Adam Gase. Sometimes they'll give him 2 years. Sometimes they'll give him 3 years, but very rarely 4 years. So sometimes they like a coach who gives you tough love like Flores. And then they want the opposite when McDaniel came in. They wanted him to embrace, put an arm around Tua and whisper in his ear. And then that didn't work. So who knows? who knows where they'll go, but they really, if Stephen Ross is serious about doing this comprehensive evaluation of the organization, I hope he's got that buddy that we all have. We all have somebody who can tell us, you know what, that's not really working for you. You know what, your breath doesn't smell good. Okay. You know what, your jokes aren't funny. You know, it needs somebody like that to tell them the truth.
For most of us, it's the person with whom we share one of these. For most
Say it
of us.
again. That's right.
For the really rich and powerful, I don't think there is anyone. I think you got a lot of sycophants. I think you got a lot of great idea, boss. I don't think you get a lot of pushback. I don't think they want that. You know, when you feel like you've won at the game of life, the last thing you want is someone close to you suggesting you might be a loser. And it creates a bubble that is hard to break through because you don't want to break through. You want everybody telling. Wouldn't life just be awesome if everywhere we went, we were reminded of how great we were? And if anything that we decided that maybe would be the next decision we make, whatever whim we may have, it's an excellent idea. Oh, that's a great idea. Wow, I wish I'd thought of that. See, I know why you're a captain of industry, because you come up with ideas like that. I just think it's hard. The richer and richer these folks get, and that's what it takes now. Hell, they're concerned long term. They're changing the ownership rules slightly. They're evolving to a point where they recognize there aren't many people out there that can show up with the requisite bag of money that it takes to buy controlling interest in an NFL team or to buy minority interest in an NFL team. It's one of the reasons why they allow private equity investments now. We can't find one person who would come pay 10% of the market value of this team to have no voting interest, to have no true ownership. It's just kind of like, you know, I own a piece of the Dolphins. Well, okay. Do you own the Dolphins? I own a piece of the Dolphins. Do you own the Dolphins? No. So it really is expensive, and it keeps getting more and more expensive, and the more and more rich that these folks are. And I'm also reminded of something that a wise man once told me. The only thing better than being rich and famous is being rich. Stephen Ross would probably prefer, if he were having a candid conversation with himself or anyone else, the days before he was Stephen Ross, Dolphins owner. It's a lot easier when you're Stephen Ross, real estate magnate, guy who has billions, and those around him know it, but nationally nobody does. Now we all know who Stephen Ross is, for better or worse. For some owners it's better, like Robert Kraft. For some owners it's worse, like Stephen Ross. And part of it's on the owner. Part of it's on the commitment. Are you going to show up and put in the work? That's one of the problems chronically with the Miami Dolphins. Stephen Ross wanted to buy the Jets because he lives in New York. Failed to buy the Jets, eventually bought the Dolphins. Still lives in New York. And I know that you can go too far if you show up every day.
Right.
And you meddle in the affairs of the football operation.
That's the other side.
This is something that I know.
That's the other side of it.
Sims and I have talked about this before. When he worked in New England for a year or two, Robert Kraft's there every day. And that doesn't mean Robert Kraft is in the film sessions and the draft meetings and chiming in on who they should take in round 5. But when you're there every day, the message it sends to every employee is you care about it. You care. Well, you can be in the meetings and not try to tell them what to do. You can just be curious. But my point is there's value in presence. It shows that you care. It shows it's important. And that is a message that, you know, look, the final results of a football team are the product of the efforts or lack thereof of hundreds of people. And if you can inspire those hundreds of people to all do exactly, it's the old do your job thing. If you can inspire everyone to do exactly what they're supposed to do, like we have a plan, and everybody in the organization, if they follow this plan to the best of their abilities, it's all going to work out to our advantage. And I think if you have that plan, and if you have on top of it an owner who is fully committed and is doing whatever he or she needs to do every single day toward that goal, that's the way to become a team that isn't firing its coach every 3 or 4 years. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.